Welcome back to Wisdom Unveiled. Tonight, we're going deep with Saadi of Shiraz. Again, we've got 50 conversations with Iranian philosophers, Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani.
And a quick note, everything's translated, so we apologize if we miss a nuance or two.
Always tricky with translations. But the big question tonight is how Saadi uses night to explore, well, the depths of what it means to be human.
He connects it to our inner journey, the place where, we confront our capacity for sin and discover something powerful about forgiveness, God's forgiveness.
Okay, so, wow, starting off strong here.
Yeah.
It's like Saadi is saying, let's be real about our flaws and see how they actually, point us towards something bigger.
Exactly. And this idea of night as a symbol, it's crucial. Both Dr. Larijani and Dr. Dinani brought up how even the Quran itself was revealed during Laylat al-Qadr, the night of power.
So even in Islamic tradition, night has this special meaning. It's not just darkness, it's about hidden truths being revealed.
It's like the most profound insights, the most valuable treasures. They're not always obvious. You have to go into the darkness to find them.
I love that. It's like a metaphor for the whole spiritual journey, right?
Oh,
we have to be willing to confront the shadows within ourselves to discover the light.
And Dr. Dinani takes this idea even further. He contrasts those 6 outward directions, north, south, east, west, up, down, the ones physical objects have, with the inward layers of a human being.
So he's saying there's more to us than what we see, literally. It's not just about our physical bodies, it's about these hidden depths that we explore through, introspection.
It's this idea that unlike, say, animals, humans have this inner world that can't be dissected or analyzed scientifically, can't open someone up and find their soul.
Right. It's about going inward into the space where we connect with something bigger.
And that's where Saadi's poetry just shines. He gives us this image of a well right there in the heart.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It's where we face our imperfections, things we try to hide, and weep tears of remorse, right?
And it has no bottom, according to Saadi. It's like saying our capacity for introspection, for facing our darkness, is limitless.
Kind of daunting when you think about it. It's like, how deep am I willing to go?
That's the challenge, but also the beauty of this inward journey. It's about honesty, acknowledging our flaws, and understanding that even in our brokenness, there's this wellspring of potential.
Okay, so we've got night as a time for going inward, for confronting our shadows. But where does sin fit into all this? I feel like there's a connection.
Oh, absolutely. Dr. Dinani is very clear that sin isn't some inherent defect, like we're born bad. It's more a consequence of living in this complex world where temptations are just everywhere.
So not that we're destined to mess up, but that the world makes it really easy to make the wrong choices, sometimes awfully appealing.
That's for sure.
But if we're not inherently sinful, then are we just stuck? Making mistakes, asking for forgiveness, repeat, it seems kind of hopeless.
Well, that's where it gets interesting. Dr. Dinani actually suggests that sin, while not ideal, can be a catalyst for growth. It forces us to face those weaknesses, acknowledge that we need forgiveness, and that deepens our connection with the divine.
Hold on. You're saying our flaws can become like stepping stones on our spiritual journey.
Precisely. It's those moments when we fall flat on our faces that teach us how to get back up, stronger and wiser.
And the Saadi's poetry, how does it reflect this? This seems pretty radical, even today.
There's this one line, it's incredibly bold.
Yeah.
Saadi directly addresses God, says, "Look upon us with your generosity, for sin has come from your servants."
Whoa. We were talking about Saadi, revered figure, a poet, a scholar. If he's admitting he needs forgiveness, it puts things in perspective.
And that humility, it's key to understanding Saadi's whole approach. He's not saying sin is great, go do bad things. He's acknowledging our capacity for error and affirming that God's mercy is bigger than our mistakes.
So it's this balance between acknowledging our flaws and having faith in a higher power.
Exactly. Recognizing our limitations while simultaneously reaching for something that's beyond those limitations.
Like this dance between humility and aspiration, saying, hey, I messed up, but I believe in something bigger than myself. I'm striving to do better.
That's a great way to put it. And this leads to a question Dr. Dinani brought up. It's really thought-provoking. He asked, would a world without sin actually diminish God's attributes? If everyone was perfect, would we even need forgiveness?
Wait, is he suggesting that sin is necessary for God's qualities to even exist? That's a little mind-bending.
No, not quite. His point is that God's qualities, things like mercy, compassion, forgiveness, they exist no matter what we do. But, and this is crucial, experiencing the need for forgiveness, that's what helps us grasp its power. in a way perfect beings never could.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. It's like we need to touch the flame to know how hot fire really is. We need to feel that need for forgiveness to really get how vast God's mercy is.
Exactly. Our imperfections, those mistakes, they allow us to experience the depth of God's love and forgiveness.
Bringing us back to Saadi's image of that well of the heart. Right. It's in those depths, in that process of facing our darkness, that we discover this wellspring of grace and compassion.
Precisely. And Saadi uses another metaphor. It's really beautiful and powerful. He talks about lifting up the hand of the heart when we pray.
Oh, I remember that. And it's not a literal gesture, right? It's about this inner yearning, a surrender to something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. Connecting with that part of ourselves that recognizes we need guidance, support, something beyond our limited understanding.
So we're reaching out with our hearts, not our hands, saying, okay, I need help. I'm not perfect, but I'm willing to surrender to something bigger.
You got it. And that surrender, that letting go of ego and control, is where the real transformation begins. It's fascinating how Saadi takes these really profound ideas and weaves them into such evocative imagery.
I know. It's like he's giving us a map, right, to our own inner world. But instead of roads and landmarks, we've got like wells and tears and hands reaching for heaven.
Dr. Dinani talked about how Saadi uses that well metaphor. It's to highlight the importance of self-reflection. He was saying that looking into that well, it's not about, dwelling on mistakes, just feeling bad about ourselves.
So it's not getting stuck in guilt or shame.
Right. It's about honestly confronting those darker aspects so that we can understand them and then work towards transformation.
That makes sense. If we never acknowledge the flaws, how can we ever hope to, overcome them?
Exactly. And Dr. Larijani added something that Saadi's well, it also emphasizes how boundless our inner world is, like the well having no bottom. Our capacity for growth, for self-discovery, it's limitless.
It's like an invitation to keep exploring, keep digging deeper, see what treasures we might find.
It is an invitation. And Dr. Dinani made a point. It was really insightful. He said that, prayer, self-reflection, those are essential for our inner landscape. But it's equally important to engage with the outer world, too.
So not about retreating into some spiritual bubble.
Not at all. Saadi believed our spiritual growth is connected to our actions out in the world. Kindness, generosity, justice, all of that, in how we treat others.
That reminds me, you were talking about Saadi's nature imagery before. Flowers, birds, the stars, all that. It illustrates this idea of being interconnected, right?
Absolutely. By making those parallels, the natural world and human experience, Saadi reminds us that we're all threads in this larger tapestry. Each one contributing to the overall beauty and the complexity.
It's like we're threads in the same tapestry, each one contributing to the overall beauty and complexity of the design.
What a beautiful way to put it. And Dr. Larijani shared this verse by Saadi. I think it captures it perfectly. He writes, "The human being is a member of the body of creation. When one member suffers, the whole body feels the pain."
Wow. Powerful stuff. Really drives home the idea that we're not isolated, part of a whole.
Exactly. And that understanding, that sense of shared humanity, it's essential for cultivating compassion, empathy, how we interact with others.
But let's be real. Sometimes compassion is hard, especially when we're dealing with difficult people, challenging situations.
You're absolutely right. We're human. We get frustrated. We get angry. But even then, Saadi reminds us, we can choose to respond with kindness, understanding, rather than judgment, hostility.
It's about recognizing that everyone, even people who behave badly, they're on their own journey, they've got their own struggles, and they're worthy of compassion.
Sometimes, the people hardest to love are the ones who need it most.
That's a challenging thought, but I think Saadi would agree. His poetry is full of these examples of grace, given to people who might not seem to deserve it.
It's like he's saying, don't get hung up on judging others. Focus on kindness and compassion in our own hearts. Let that guide us.
I love that. A powerful reminder that at the end of the day, our own inner transformation, that's what impacts the world the most.
Dr. Dinani talked about this in the context of Saadi's teachings on prayer. He said true prayer isn't about, just asking for things, favors. It's about aligning ourselves with the divine will, cultivating qualities like gratitude, humility, compassion.
So not trying to bend God to our will, but surrendering to something bigger, letting that transform us from the inside out.
Exactly. Recognizing we're not the center of the universe. We're part of something much larger, much more magnificent. And when we humble ourselves before that, open our hearts to its wisdom, that's when real transformation starts.
Like tapping into this strength, this wisdom, that's beyond our little ego, beyond what we can grasp on our own.
And those qualities, as we cultivate them, humility, gratitude, compassion, they naturally start to radiate outwards. It influences how we interact, creates this ripple effect of positive change.
This is making me think about our words, our actions, their power. Saadi talks a lot about speaking truthfully, acting with integrity.
He does. Dr. Larijani brought up a passage where Saadi writes, "A kind word is like a spring day. It brings joy to the heart and nourishes the soul." He really believed our words can uplift or destroy, heal or wound.
So not just what we say, but how we say it. Choosing our words carefully, speaking from that place of kindness, it makes a difference.
Absolutely. And actions matter just as much. Saadi believed real spirituality. It's not just contemplation, it's about service to others.
So putting faith into action, translating those spiritual insights into tangible help, kindness.
Precisely. Dr. Dinani shared a story about Saadi. Really illustrates this. He's walking through the marketplace, sees this poor man begging for food.
I'm curious, what did Saadi do?
He didn't just give money or food. He invited the man home, shared his own meal, talked with him, treated him with the utmost respect, dignity.
Wow, that's walking the walk. He could have just tossed some coins, but he saw a fellow human being worthy of his time.
And that's the core of what Saadi's teaching. It's about recognizing everyone's dignity, their worth, no matter their status, wealth, appearance.
Seeing the divine spark in everyone, even those who are struggling, marginalized.
And treating them with that kindness, compassion, respect, as if they were, a reflection of the divine.
Beautiful sentiment. And so relevant today, so much division, animosity in the world.
It is. And Saadi's message, unity, interconnectedness, seeing that divine in everyone. It's a powerful antidote to all that hate and fear we see.
It's a reminder that we're all one family, sharing this planet, this journey.
And we have that choice to build walls or build bridges, to focus on differences or celebrate our shared humanity.
I think Saadi would urge us to choose love, compassion, unity, to see that our own inner transformation, that's the key to a just and harmonious world.
Absolutely. And, there's another side to Saadi's teachings that's essential for navigating modern life. He talks a lot about balance.
Balance, between our inner and outer worlds, spiritual and material lives.
Exactly. Dr. Dinani pointed out that Saadi saw the need for both, contemplation and action, solitude and community, growing spiritually while contributing to the well-being of others.
So not either, but finding a way to integrate both.
Precisely. Saadi believed real happiness, fulfillment, it comes from living a balanced life. One that nourishes our soul and engages us in meaningful work, relationships.
Makes a lot of sense. It's like a garden. Can't just focus on watering the flowers, got to tend the soil, prune branches, make sure they get enough sunlight.
Wonderful analogy. And Saadi's poetry, it's full of practical advice on how to find that balance, setting aside time for prayer, for reflection, but also engaging in service and generosity.
He also talks about hard work, perseverance.
He does. Dr. Larijani shared a verse where Saadi writes, "The fruits of your labor are sweet, but the labor itself is bitter. Be patient and persevere, for the sweetness will eventually outweigh the bitterness."
I love that. Reminder that the good stuff, it rarely comes easy. Got to put in the work, face challenges, keep striving, even when it's tough.
And that perseverance, that grit, it's not just about external success. It's building inner strength, resilience.
So developing the capacity to face life's challenges with grace, determination, knowing that even in the darkest times, there's hope, there's a path forward.
And sometimes those challenges, those tough times, they're what really refine us, shape us, help us discover our potential.
It's like a blacksmith forging a sword, right?
Yeah.
The heat, the hammering, it's intense, but that's what transforms raw metal into something strong and beautiful.
Such a vivid image. Saadi's poetry is full of metaphors like that. They help us understand the transformative power of these challenges.
Don't shy away from the hard stuff. Embrace it, learn from it, and it'll make you stronger, wiser, more compassionate.
And there's something else so relevant today in this fast-paced world. Saadi emphasizes slowing down, being present, appreciating life's simple pleasures.
Cultivating mindfulness.
Yeah.
Being fully engaged in whatever we're doing, right? Whether it's eating, spending time with loved ones, or just, walking in nature.
Exactly. Dr. Dinani talked about how Saadi used the metaphor of a traveler. He says, "The wise traveler enjoys the scenery along the way, for he knows he may never pass this way again."
Love that. Reminds us to savor each moment, not get so caught up in the destination that we miss the whole journey.
And sometimes those small moments, the quiet contemplation, the simple pleasures, those are what truly nourish us.
Taking the time to really taste your food, To truly listen to a friend's story. Watch a sunset with awe.
Saadi's poetry is full of these moments, inviting us to slow down, pause, appreciate, even amidst challenges.
It's like he's saying, wake up, look around, this is it, this is your life. It's precious, it's fleeting, and it's full of beauty if you choose to see it.
And his mindfulness teachings, it's not just about the enjoyable stuff. He also says we need to be present with our pain, grief, disappointments too.
So not trying to avoid those tough emotions, but acknowledge them, feel them fully, and then let them go.
Exactly. Saadi believed real healing, real transformation comes from facing pain head-on, with courage and compassion, not running away.
It's like a storm.
Yeah.
You can't control the wind or rain, but you can choose how you weather it. Huddle in fear, resist, or stand tall, breathe deep, let the storm pass through you.
What a powerful analogy. And Saadi gives us guidance on how to do that. Finding solace in nature, support from loved ones, turning to prayer, meditation.
Makes me think how often we try to numb ourselves to pain. Distractions, substances, all those unhealthy ways of coping.
True. But Saadi reminds us healing comes from facing it directly, with courage, compassion, letting ourselves feel it all.
Pain is part of life. It doesn't lessen our worth, our strength. And it can even be what pushes us to grow, to transform.
In Saadi's poetry, it's full of examples, people facing huge challenges, loss, heartbreak, betrayal, and they come out stronger, wiser.
He's saying you're not alone in your suffering. Others have walked this path. There's hope, healing, a way forward.
That message of hope, of resilience, of the human spirit enduring, it's one of the most beautiful and inspiring things about his work.
So it's not just about escaping to some, mountaintop retreat. It's about finding those little pockets of stillness, silence in everyday life.
Exactly. It could be, super simple, taking you a few minutes each morning. Just sit, reflect, maybe journal, meditate. Or carve out time each week, walk in nature, disconnect from everything.
Creating those rituals that help us find peace, clarity in all the busyness of, modern life.
And Saadi, he didn't just talk about solitude. He was big on community too, connecting with people who share our values, who support our growth.
So that balance again, right? Our inner world and then how we connect with others.
Precisely. Dr. Dinani, he pointed out how Saadi often used the metaphor of a garden, said, just as a garden needs both sunlight and rain to flourish, so too does the human soul need both solitude and community to thrive.
I love that. Such a beautiful image. It's both, right? Taking care of our own inner world and then finding those people who really nourish us.
And Saadi, he was clear that true community, it's not just hanging out with people you like, who make you feel good. It's about surrounding yourself with folks who challenge you to grow, to be your best self, who get that spiritual journey you're on.
Finding those, what do they call them, soul friends? Kindred spirits who get your deepest longings and push you towards, your true purpose.
Exactly. And Saadi's poems, they're full of these examples, the power of those soul connections, those friendships that feed your spirit.
It's like having a mirror, showing you what you could be, and a compass pointing you in the right direction.
And Saadi's teachings on community, they go further. He says it's crucial to reach out to people who are different from us. Bridge those divides, cultivate understanding, compassion across cultures, religions, everything.
Embracing diversity, challenging our own biases, seeing that inherent worth in every human being.
Precisely. Dr. Larijani shared a beautiful passage where Saadi writes, the human family is like a garden with many different flowers. Each flower has its own unique beauty and fragrance, and together they create a tapestry of breathtaking splendor.
Wow, that's powerful. The beauty of diversity, celebrating those differences instead of being afraid of them.
And Saadi believed that embracing this, connecting with people unlike ourselves, that's how we create a more just, harmonious world.
It's building bridges instead of walls, breaking down those barriers and seeing that we're all connected, one big human family.
And that, takes us back to one of the core themes we've been exploring, the transformative power of love.
Love is that guiding principle, that force connecting us all. The key to unlocking our potential and creating a more just and compassionate world.
And Dr. Dinani said something really insightful about this. He said Saadi was clear that love isn't just a feeling, it's a practice, a choice we make every moment in every interaction.
So we're actively choosing to see the good in others, extending that kindness, compassion, even when it's hard, when we don't feel like it.
Exactly. And this, practicing love, changes us from the inside out. It softens our hearts, opens our minds, and connects us to something so much bigger.
It's like tapping into this source of energy, joy, purpose. It's limitless.
And that energy, it radiates. It influences our relationships, our communities, the whole world around us.
This makes me think about our intentions. The choices we make every single day, the thoughts we have, the words we say, the actions we take, it all adds up.
You're right. Saadi believed that what's inside, it shapes what's outside. The seeds we plant in our hearts, they bloom into the fruits of our lives.
So if we want to create a better world, one that's more loving, more just, more compassionate, we got to start by cultivating those qualities within ourselves.
Exactly. And Saadi's poetry, it gives us a roadmap, a guide to cultivating that inner peace, practicing kindness, and embracing the power of love.
It's like he's saying, let your heart be your compass, let love be your guide, and let your life show the beauty, the power of the human spirit.
Beautiful, inspiring message to take with us as we continue our own journeys.
And as we wrap up this deep dive into Saadi's wisdom, I feel a deep sense of gratitude, both for his teachings and for having this conversation with you.
I feel the same. It's been an honor to share this journey with you and with everyone listening.
I hope our exploration of Saadi's work has inspired you to cultivate more love, kindness, and compassion in your own life, to see the world with a sense of beauty, hope, and interconnectedness.
May we all keep seeking wisdom, practicing love, and striving for a more just and harmonious world, one heart at a time.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the heart of Saadi's wisdom. Until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep shining your light bright.